What's up, everybody? Joey here coming at you with your summer update for Sugarbush Ski and Ride School 2025. Let's jump right into it. So, we're going to talk a little bit about this past season ending in 2025, some of our survey scores, a little business update of how we did, some employee engagement information. We'll look at what's going on for the summer for the resort and for you, talk about the rehire process, some of the changes we're planning to our programming next season, and just some capital projects going on around the resort. Let's jump right in. So last season we had recorded 283 inches of snow. We had 17 consecutive days of snowfall in the month of January. And February was our snowiest month. And I just sit here thinking of looking back on last winter and think, wow, that was stellar weather, stellar conditions. I got to ski in places here that I've heard about but never gotten to in good snow, and it was a blast. And so I'm really hoping for a rinse and repeat this coming season. That La Nina weather pattern treated us really well. It was super fun. Let's talk a little bit about some NPS scores. What our guests thought, how we did in their eyes. So our flake score for net promoters was a 68.09. This is a little bit of slip over last season. We had about a point and a half slip. This could be attributed to a few things. Measuring by program, it was in the farmhouse more than in the schoolhouse, but there were high scores, there were low scores, and I think overall it's really close to last year. Medallia, which also measures our NPS. This is the long format survey that the resort sends out. Kids Medallia survey was at a 55.6, and our adult programs are at a 68.4. And this is a different formatted survey, so that it's not directly comparable to our flake scores. Overall, what is important is that these scores are all pretty high, right? Any net promoter score 50 and above is considered really high. Places like Disney use the NPS score to measure how well they're doing with their resorts or with their guest experiences. And really, they're shooting for between a 40 and a 50. And they're kind of considered some of the benchmark guest experience just out there in the resort world. So, all of our programs are scoring well beyond that. So it's really exciting to see. Overall, our resort was at a 37.5. There's some complexities to that score. Food and beverage scores, are across all industries are really low. People have a really high expectation of food and beverage compared to what resorts deliver. So that's part of that score. And then also, some of our difficulties operationally that I'm going to talk a little bit more about from the employee survey also factor into that score. So our employee engagement survey. So this is the survey that went out in February and went to all of you. We had about 65% of the school participate, which is good. I would love to see that number closer to 80 or 90% of all of you taking the survey, but I will. I really value the feedback that we did get. So one of the key points of feedback that we got at the employee engagement survey was the lifts at our resort. Lifts aren't always reliable, and then some specific comments on our teaching train on our magic carpets. And so, that's been heard and that's not only from the ski and ride school employees, but from the resort wide. We need to have more reliable lifts operating, especially when we're busy. And the magic carpets in the learning areas, the grooming, the carpets themselves, like the literal belt on the schoolhouse magic carpet, the snowmaking at them, all of that was a key source of improvement from the employee engagement survey from all of you. There's a lot of comments on the schoolhouse operations, positive and negative, surrounding a lot of the changes we made last year. There was a lot of comments about everyone not being happy with Blazer Lunch at Lincoln Peak and the Valley House. Communications internally for ski and ride school, that was commented on quite a bit. some cross-department communications. We had some questions about what's going on with our cross-department communications, specifically from the mountain operations team out to the resort wide. And then this is dependably a comment from everyone on training, both good and seeking improvement on our training offerings. We're going to talk at length about how we're addressing all these topics and a few different ones also, in addition to these, at the orientation. But I want you to know that these were the top 5, 6 commented areas. And so I've been working on a plan since we got these results in May on how to address specifically all these things. Some of them I'll talk about today. Some of them we'll talk more about in November as we start to roll into winter. So shifting gears, just looking across the rest of summer here, we want you to get your snow sports and instruction brain back in the game here at some point. So there's a ton of great podcasts out there. There's some great Snow Pro podcasts from PSA, ASI National. Some of you might listen to Chaos and Company. They start doing a summer series. Everything I learned from snowboarding, I believe is the title. That's a great couple of snowboard national team guys put that one on. That's been a great podcast. I've listened to a couple of really good episodes this summer. So just some soft training, if you will. Maybe some learning through osmosis could happen if you're ready to start thinking about skiing and snowboarding a little bit. Then there's some great webinars that are going to be lined out by the national office. I'm a part of the National Management Task Force to help create content that we think instructors, ski and snowboard instructors are looking for. So, if you have any really strong opinions on, hey, I want to hear information on this topic, reach out, let me know. I have some influence about what that content may be. I would love for everyone to start thinking about like how you're moving your body this summer, right? Like it's almost August and the winter, believe it or not, I can't believe I'm gonna say this, winter is like 12 weeks away. And so we could be skiing really soon. Sometimes we're not skiing until late November, maybe December last year. But regardless, it takes some time to get back into shape, and you're not going to ski and snowboard yourself back into shape. So think about how you're moving your body. This graphic artwork here, this is the Grateful Gravel artwork. So there's some great events going on around the valley. The Grateful Gravel event, a mix of gravel riding and Grateful Dead music, having some fun with it. Pretty cool event going on over at Mount Ellen. We're going to do some more Zoom certification prep like we did last summer, just diving into a lot of just the kind of nuts and bolts of teaching and technical aspects utilized for more specifically level 2 and level 3 exams. We're going to do those every couple of weeks, August through October, with a level 2 and 3 prep focus for Alpine folks. And if you're interested, please shoot me an email. Let me know. I will create a distribution list. I will be picking everyone who was on the list from last year as well, just to get some heads in the game, and we can go from there. I want to talk a little bit about the rehire process. And before I do this picture here, I love this picture. This is a time lapse of us unloading the lift and then the fireworks going off at Torchlight. So this is, if you came to a Torchlight this last year, this picture, and I just think it's a super cool time lapse. It was really neat to see them post this. Okay, so everyone at the end of last season was what in workday terminology was termed, right? So we ended employment and said, okay, if I was a seasonal employee, okay, Joey, you are separated now here going forward. Great. And then versus last year, we did a leave of absence where we knew everyone was coming back, but we put them on leave. It created when we put people on leave of absence, it created some issues administratively during the season that we want to avoid. It's not really going to affect your experience at all. What's going to happen is, just like last year, you're going to get a workday offer in your email this week saying, hey, Joey, we'd love for you to come back. Here's your job. Here's your pay rate. Your job does not necessarily match your level of certification, but it's important that you double check your pay rate and make sure that it feels correct. If you got a new certification last year, that should be calculated into your pay rate. So if that was missed, please let me know. I have worked to make sure that it is not missed for everybody, but people sometimes slip through the cracks. So please, if you have any questions about your rate at all, just reach out to me. I'm happy to discuss it with you. Everyone is going to receive a merit increase as well. So as long as you were able to meet your commitment and check all your boxes last year, you'll receive a merit increase. If you started 2022/23 season or earlier, we are going to be redoing I-9 documentation and background checks for everybody. So if you're a longtime returning staff, up until this is your third season or more, we will be redoing, like I said, I-9 documentation and background checks. This is going to trigger a visit to HR and some additional, onboarding tasks or digital paperwork through Workday. It's really important we follow the steps laid out by HR here as far as what needs to get done, because if you show up to HR and you haven't done anything, you're like, I'm here for my I-9 check, and you haven't accepted your job, if you haven't done the other pre-hire paperwork, they're not going to be ready to help you, and they can't help you, right? So it's super important. The first thing you do is accept your job in Workday. That'll either be an email, or if you can't find the email, you can log in and you have information to your Workday account. You can log straight into your Workday account, and the offer will be in there as a task that you can accept. If you're watching this video on Monday and you haven't gotten your Workday, or it's Tuesday or Wednesday and you haven't gotten your Workday offer yet, I have to process them manually. I've started today. It's a pretty long process for all 300 people in the ski and ride school. So just be patient. That it is coming this week. It'll be in your inbox before August. Just let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to say, oh yeah, hey Joe, I haven't gotten it yet, but I will get yours out today. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I'm trying to make the process easiest for you and easiest for our supervisor team in season. And so it's been a little bit delayed this season, but hopefully we've worked out a lot of the kinks and issues, and it's going to be really easy for you as a re-onboarding staff. I understand that the paperwork part, having to redo your I-9s and redo your background checks is added complexity. This is a legal compliance HR piece that is really important that we do. Any audit from the labor board, they're going to want to see this type of information on file, readily available. So any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Things like flake access, calendar availabilities, teaching assignments, orientation materials, all that is going to be available more after Labor Day. So we want to get through the initial job offer piece first, and then we can start to look at, okay, calendars, assignments, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We're still filling in our seasonal program. I'll talk more about this in a minute, but we're still filling in our seasonal program registrations. We're still figuring out, some key pieces with days of programs and whatnot. And so, those kinds of questions are really valuable, and I understand they're your entire experience as an instructor. I'm just not quite ready to start speaking to exact specifics yet. So if you have questions on that, if you were like, hey, I can't get in a flake to accept my job, you're not looking in the right spot. It's all through Workday until we get things accepted and rolling. Let's talk about some of the programs we're changing for the 25-26, mind blower 2026 season coming up. So seasonal programs are on sale now. They actually went on sale at the end of March and were on sale before seasonal programs ended. This was partly an attempt to capture our audience in season so that there was no people slipping through the cracks. Oh, I didn't know that programs are up for registration now. Despite that attempt, there are still families who felt like, hey, I didn't understand that programs are open for registration. I feel that we are doing a better and better job of communicating over the past 5 seasons that I've been here on when programs are open for registration and what to do. I think this year was the most communication any of those families have received. So if you are talking to families who didn't know and there's capped out of a certain program, there's not many programs that are capped yet, they can reach out to me directly, and it's something that we can talk about and try to problem solve together. So as we know, or hopefully as many of us know, there were some calendar changes to our Lake and Peak program. So Micro, Mini, and Adventure Blazers, as well as the Sugarbush Snow Pro Academy, are all starting December 13th. The standard program runs all day Saturday, half day on Sunday. with an option for a afternoon add-on for Sunday afternoons. The afternoon add-on, although there was a lot of discussion about how popular it may be, it's pretty quiet right now. It's about 20 kids out of our couple of hundred kids in programs that are taking the Sunday afternoon add-on right now. Sign-ups are going well. The Lincoln Peak programs are looking at about 75-80% full. So if you have families who are holding off on registration, they're not full yet, but I do anticipate selling out in the October timeframe as people kind of hit that late rush towards winter. So if you're talking to any families who are on the fence about signing up, just let them know we are anticipating selling out of all of those programs. This is a big change. So we are moving the location of Blazer Lunch. So specifically Adventure Blazers, we're eating lunch in the Valley House, and we are moving Adventure Blazer Lunch back to the Gatehouse. This is partially or strongly because of guest and employee feedback, and so it's something that we want to be able to provide to you all to give a better experience. So we hope that everyone likes to change. There's going to be some things to figure out in terms of timing for lunch and all that, but it's nothing that we haven't experienced in the Gatehouse in the past few seasons before moving back to the Valley House. So I'm confident it'll be a positive change for everybody. The Mount Ellen programs are staying consistent. They're starting with that first Saturday in January and running the same amount of weeks. So we are planning some new all-mountain adult camps. So mirroring how the women's series and the women's discovery camp works, we'll be having the adult Saturday series still, the advanced adult series. We've added 2 camps, one weekend, one weekday camp, different dates than the women's discovery dates that are all gender, not all level, but advanced level focused, but inclusive of any gender, so men and women and whoever else, and that way we have an offering for the Women's Discovery Camp is a pretty successful program for us. We want to roll that out to make it more accessible to anyone who wants to join that type of topic. So I don't have the dates in front of me, but I think there's one in February and one in March that'll be running, and we'll share more details as we move forward into the season about that. We're excited to launch a new program. The Saturday adult seasonal programs, meaning the advanced adult series and the women's series, are going to shift times to mirror the Blazer drop-off times. So right now those programs, or I should say historically those programs have run 10 to 3, and they're going to run 9 to 2 with a 9 o'clock meeting, 9:15 departure, and run until 2, so that families who have kids in the seasonal programs can confidently sign their kids up for seasonal programs and themselves up for these adult programs. We're going to be changing the way we sell private lessons, specifically on the eStore. So one major change is that any lesson with a child 6 and under, we're going to be querying that in the eStore process, specifically who's in this lesson. Are there any attendants 6 years old and under? And when they say yes, it triggers a different product. It won't look any different to the guests, but in our inventory pool, it'll be a different product. There'll be a maximum of 2 participants when there's a child 6 or under, and that's to make the lift riding aspect easier for you, the instructor, and just the whole class handling experience for the guests and for yourself. These lessons will be the same price, the same duration. To the guests, it'll all be the same product, same process. It'll tell us more information about the guests. The other piece that is happening is we won't be charging anymore, but we will be requiring each participant to register for the lesson. So online we'll say who is in this lesson, and we'll have it be a mandatory field. They have to fill out all the lesson participants, who they are, what age they are, what level they are. We want to do a better job of tracking how many folks are in our private lessons. We a few years ago changed the way we sell private lessons to say, hey, there's a maximum of up to 6 people in this lesson. And it creates a lot of value for the guest if they fill the lesson. If they say, oh, great, we got 3 couples here, let's put all 6 of us in a private lesson, we can all ski together. That is a huge potential for an excellent value for the guest. But we don't have any hard data on how many people are in every single private lesson, because not every single person is always registered. So we are going to be working with the sales staff, the supervisor staff, and you, the instructors, to say, hey, we want to track this. Let's take the time to get these folks properly registered. Something we're able to do out on snow and lineup, something we're able to do inside the desk, and hopefully it's something that we're capturing very firsthand in the sales process. And then the last big change to our programming for this coming year is we'll be adding the Flake GPS units to the Schoolhouse Sugar Bear, Mini Bear, and Micro Bear programs. If you're unfamiliar with what these are, I'm going to be posting a link in the comments where it'll give you an idea of, it's just a Flake promotional video, but it'll give you an idea of what this is. They're a little GPS transponder kids wear on their leg. They're going to get them at check-in, and it's going to be a part of our scanning process. So when we scan classes, we'll scan the GPS into the instructor. The instructor will carry a GPS unit too. And at the end of the day, they'll get an email saying, hey, Joey, relive your day. You can see where your daughter went and what trail she skied and what lift she rode and how many miles they covered and how much vertical they covered and average speed and all these cool stats that you would see from a GPS tracking program. Integrated into our schoolhouse lesson programs. So these trackers are not free, they're really expensive, and so this is an attempt to start with one of our larger programs, see how this goes this season, and hopefully expand this out as time goes. But we're really excited to try this out and see how it affects our guest experience. This is part of this is tied to that Flake survey they get at the end of the day. So trying to drive more traffic, more responses to that survey. This is a huge value add for parents in the schoolhouse who say, oh yeah, I want to see where my kid went today. They have to do the quick survey before they can see the map and the little dot where other kids went. A question I get really frequently is, okay, well, how are we going to stop parents from tracking down classes? This is not a live view for parents. This is a live view for us, for the schoolhouse team. We'll be able to pull it up, on our computers or tablets or whatever else we have to say, oh yeah, I see Joey, he's coming down Easy Rider right now. But it's not available to parents during the day. So it uploads at 5 p.m. for those folks. So they have to wait until 5 p.m. to log in and check. They actually get a prompted email, hey, relive your day from Flake, Sugarbush Ski and Ride School. But it is not available as a live view. Okay, talking about some of the capital projects we have in progress this summer. So we are building a new learning terrain and magic carpet over at Mount Ellen. It is really looking good. The grading work is finished. The vaults are dug. The foundations are in. The magic carpet is being assembled right now. They're going pretty quick, actually, now that the vaults are dug. And it's really exciting. We're going to have an awesome teaching area over there. The carpet's going to be covered with a gallery. It's really nice grading. We're redoing some of the snowmaking over there. It's one of the snowmaking projects to better make snow in this area. It is going to change the traffic pattern around the GMX lift. So you'll no longer be able to ski between the parking lot and the GMX lift down through what was the old kind of Tommy's Toy area and then out in the parking lot. You're going to have to go out and around this new magic carpet because this new magic carpet is right up against the bank of the parking lot there. That's to maximize the skiing footprint. If you haven't been over there yet and you're in the area, come take a look. The tree island is gone. The snowmaking pipe is buried. There's going to be a couple of hydrants out there just to make snow, but it's really going to change the way traffic flows in that area and the way that we use the teaching terrain. Really excited to see this. We'll be definitely offering beginner lessons on the weekends at Mount Ellen. We're looking at what else can we do to utilize this teaching area. There's been discussions of if there's a Friday school group, is that the right side of the mountain to use? So we're really just looking forward to having a new teaching area. I think it'll be a better grade than what we've experienced with the Welcome Mat on the Lincoln Peak side, and the lift is going to be an excellent piece of infrastructure for us. hopefully this is the start of, yes, we've revamped that learning area. Now we can start to look at these other ones and say, hey, look, we got a great return on this side, and it's made Mount Ellen this much busier. Let's look at the Lincoln Peak infrastructure now. That's my hope. Some other snowmaking projects besides the learning area at Mount Ellen, replacing the Sunrise Birch line that had a major malfunction, major failure at the end of the snowmaking season last year. And so being able to replace all that pipe so that we can make snow on Sunrise again this year and Birch is really important. There's been actually a lot of work done on the main snowmaking pipe, bringing up snowmaking water from our main pond all the way up the hill. If you've been driving the access road at all, you've noticed a couple of patches in the road, and those are digging up the pipe and fixing some major leaks. So there's been some nothing like, oh, so exciting, there's snowmaking on a new trail or anything like that, but some really important infrastructure replacements there to improve our snowmaking. The other thing is they're replacing hydrants on first time on the welcome mat here. They tried a new style of hydrant and it didn't work. They were a demo, so we're going back to a more traditional style hydrant, which snowmaking is excited about. They feel it's more responsive and more reliable as a piece of equipment. And the last piece for some of our major projects is that we've started planning. This is a multi-year process, but started planning for a North Ridge lift replacement for a new. Right now, this is all in pencil, so don't quote me and say, oh, Joey promised that we were doing this, but it's a new detachable 4-person quad in the same alignment as a North Ridge current lift, really replacing that so that it's no longer unreliable. That's a chain drive lift. It has some spacing issues. It struggles in the wind. It struggles in the cold. So getting that replaced would be an awesome move forward for us. So that's a multi-year process it takes to plan these things out. Lots of permitting, lots of time to take ahead. But once we have all the paperwork done, as soon as Alterra gives a green light, boom, we can order a lift, and 12 months later, hopefully we're installing it. So that's the idea there, is to be ahead on that project. So as soon as we're ready to do our next lift, boom, we're ready to go on North Ridge. Great. Been talking for a while. Thanks for all you do. I'm really excited to get the season going. As always, please reach out with questions. Really looking forward to seeing some cooler weather ahead, seeing the leaves start to change in the next couple of months, and talking more about skiing and snowboarding as we get closer to the season. Have a great day, and we'll see you all soon.